Hello, and the purpose of this video is to present a critical review of the film Firebird. Firebird is an Estonian film that was released in 2021, and it is about the love affair of these two men who were members of the Soviet Air Force. And the affair in question happened in the late 70s under the rule of Leonid Brezhnev. The KGB was after them. This one, the one who was an officer, was warned by the KGB twice about, the fact that having homosexual relationships in context of the Soviet military was illegal, etc. For a while, they had to suspend their relationship for security reasons. They ended up living together in Moscow for a while in an apartment, and the film does not have a happy ending. It's not a happy ending. It's a tragic ending, but I am not going to spoil it for you. I encourage you to watch this film. It's very, very important. It's a very good film. It is available in the streaming services. I watched it, from a streaming service, a pay-per-view streaming service. So you can go to any, there's many streaming services online that you can go to, and I'm sure they'll have it. This film is recent, from 2021. Okay, Firebird. Okay, I just want to make a couple of comments though before I say what I have to say about this film. I want to say a few facts about homosexuality in the Eastern Bloc. So first of all, homosexuality was decriminalized in the Soviet Union between 1922 and 1933. In the first Russian Socialist Federated Soviet Republic Penal Code from 1922, under Lenin, the word sodomy was removed from the law code. Sodomy was decriminalized, right? So effectively homosexual activity was decriminalized between 1922 and 1933. It was Joseph Stalin who restored the ban on homosexuality in 1933. Under the premise of so-called protecting the proletarian family from bourgeois decadence. It was Stalin who came up with this idea of that homosexuality equals bourgeois decadence. It was him, not Lenin. Okay, So, and this whole narrative of the proletarian family was also manufactured by Stalin. Okay, which was basically a restoration of the bourgeois family, criticized by Friedrich Engels. But that's a separate issue. Anyways, in a previous European revolutionary episode, in 1791, the post-revolutionary French government did not include homosexuality in the post-revolutionary penal code, which effectively made homosexuality not a crime. Okay, so those are the two revolutionary instances in 1791, after the French Revolution, and between 1922 and 1933 in the Soviet Union under Lenin. In those two occasions, homosexuality was decriminalized by revolutionary governments. Okay, years and years and years before any of the democratic governments even considered decriminalizing homosexuality. Okay, so that's the thing. In the DDR, in East Germany, homosexuality was decriminalized on the 12th of January 1968. Okay, so in 1987, the DDR's Supreme Court ruled that the age of consent for homosexuals should be the same as the age of consent for heterosexuals. So, and then in Cuba, the new constitution of 2019, number one, it decriminalizes homosexuality. It forbids discrimination on the grounds of sexual orientation and gender identity, and it defines marriage as a union of two persons, effectively decoupling marriage from gender. Okay, just so that we're clear about homosexuality and the Eastern Bloc. Okay, so but in the late 70s under Brezhnev, in the Soviet military, it wasn't allowed, and it was severely punished, right? So the distributor of the film Lucky Dogs their presentation of the film, right? And they talk about here, that in the Soviet era, love between two uniformed men was punished hard. Their love for each other had to risk their freedom and life, right? That in order to love each other, they had to risk their freedom and life under a totalitarian regime, right? Okay. Granted, like I said, Brezhnev's Soviet Union was not a picnic. I'm not saying that. I'm not defending Brezhnev's Soviet Union from the perspective of homosexuals. It was not a picnic, okay? But, the problem when I read that, and when I saw this film, there is a little detail here, that I'm talking about from personal experience. My fiance was deported by the Swedish Migration Board, okay, in Sweden. So Swedish democracy, destroyed my relationship with my fiance by deporting him to North Africa, okay? And, and that happened under Swedish democracy. And I am not the only person, many gay and lesbian people have been deported from Sweden. There is the case of this Russian couple, a man and a transsexual person who came to Sweden in 2012, and they applied for asylum and they were deported back to Putin's Russia. Okay, the Swedish Migration Board handed them back to Putin, even though the Swedish Migration Board knew perfectly well that in Putin's Russia, homosexuals are persecuted. Okay, so the Swedish Migration Board is no different than the KGB. Okay, when it comes down to deporting gay and lesbian people. Okay, and I'm going to put links in the description to articles that talk about the case of this Russian man and the transsexual woman. Okay, in my case, they deported my fiance back to North Africa and destroyed my relationship with him. And I am not the only one, because, last year I benefited from the support of the RFSL. The RFSL has this thing called STOD. It's like a support service. And the RFSL is like the federation, the Swedish Federation of gay and lesbian people, or whatever. It's like the advocacy group for gay and lesbian rights in Sweden is called the RFSL. And they have a unit that does support. And that unit, like a social worker from that unit contacted me for a whole year. And because I was dealing with issues of, I am a survivor of conversion therapy in context of religious fundamentalism. So for that reason, the STOD social worker from the RFSL was helping me, right? I did not mention to them the issue about my fiance being deported, because I felt that the issue of the conversion therapy fallout was more urgent than the other thing. And I didn't want to abuse their resources or whatever by overwhelming them with my problems, right? But I do know for a fact that same support system also supports people whose loved ones have been deported by the Migration Board in Sweden, okay? Gay and lesbian people whose relationships have been destroyed by the Migration Board. I am not the only one, okay? So this author, this Lucky, what did they call it? The distributor, Lucky Dogs, talks about, how they have to, risk their freedom and life to have their love under a totalitarian regime, from the perspective of the deported gay and lesbian people in Sweden, and from the perspective of those who have been harmed by those deportations, like myself and others, the Swedish Migration Board is no different than the KGB, okay? So I just want to say that, in context of having watched it, that's how I feel after I watched this film, Firebird, Firebird. Please watch this film. It is a very good film. And, I want to suggest that maybe somebody needs to make a film about all the gay and lesbian people who have been deported from Sweden. And then we can have two films, and balance things out, okay? But that's just a suggestion for somebody. A movie director should do that. I don't know if somebody's interested. Anyways, Firebird, please watch it. It's a great film. Okay, bye.